commercial. Broadcasted through a range or even perhaps numerous wide sources of any sort of communication such as networks, radios, televisions, computers, digital motion glass, computation orbs, memory input recollection, word of mouths, or else perhaps a profitable potential endorsed by a minor or major source or resource, whichever prefix or noun to the source benefits from the interest results as compensation, which will determine the project's future association, rather than relying on just a personal liking, but to balance in awe of its genius, and the distribution of rewards, contribution, and compensation. Thus, in a majority are often judged by a rate of numeration. We all know commercial is an adjective to commerce. If not, this is not an insult to the respect of any one of you in here. Definitions shouldn't have to be explored in an era of minimalized simplicity, but basics are always necessary in a game where failure is the only option.
No disrespect suspected, if so, will be taken with the utmost enthusiasm.
Despite such laughs to be felt with slaps to the face is only a response to an obvious offense that is a worthless desperation in need of a spectacle to display what is destined to be nothing.
You're all my soulmates. Commerce is the business of selling, trading, communicating. The civil chemical warfare training exercise that took place a couple of weeks ago, you individuals experienced, was a fine example of biochemical habits of commercialism, how to distribute and purchase items on a shelf while a guerrilla warfare bloody conflict is taking place, which is the ultimate exploitive tool in commercialization in order for our enemy to sustain warfare combat. With all of that being said, for our enemy to sustain an unnecessary dispute equals our enemy has lost all reasons for attacks, which age is too old and in overrated misery. Still, it doesn't conclude how our operation will escape the one-dimensional financial imprisonment other than draining our resources one business decline at a time. My point exactly. After the civil chemical warfare experiment, the offense ministry lost over $451 million. The funding is unlimited, but each failure is going to cost them dramatically, because funding and spending is reckless. The Predator Star was not only a Zakah investment, but an offense ministry investment made from excelestial material, which is worth more than human bypass currency. That ship, as a loose wanderer, devalued the offense ministry's resources, especially property, particularly if they're going to launch more desperate seeks and destroys. We need to use and exploit the offense ministry's withdrawal desperations to drain their finances and resources to leave them in a vulnerable position. The problem is we can't do that when they are using food companies as a shield to create a deterrence from weapons purchasing. At least from our operation. Well, shit, if people ain't got nothing to eat, the only two things they can do is eat a bullet or put a smithy to the head to the blackout, so why the hell they gonna go through all them tragic dramatics over a face with a frown on when a fruity and the veggie will put a smile on better than a teddy bear? No, what we need to do is find a way to restore an advisement before purchases. The Mafia has sold handguns, shotguns, and assault rifles, but the people who bought them, for some odd reason, keep having to check their wallets and e-credit balances, and there isn't a dime even in the pockets, or there is only 18 cents left, which is a tax-fee credit withdrawal restriction, leaving no money for food, leaving no choice but to either pawn or sell to the nearest fastest purchaser in exchange for food money. Because of us in here, the arms trade today has become the second biggest business industry in the world. We're bigger than the music industry, bigger than the entertainment business, bigger than technology and electronic product companies. We've overthrown and gone beyond the drug industry. We've surpassed the housing market industry 1,000,000 times over. It's boring. We're even bigger than the medical field, which is still afloat because of the results of our business. To reach the number one spot, we still can't pass up that number one market, and that is food.
Since when is the top of the food chain important, Crane?
It's not. It's just that I'm afraid that the hand tanks we sell will fall into the same category as the mob's gun sales.
It's inevitable, Russell, especially if the one you in the game starts to get sloppy.
Well, anytime soon, I don't see how. Look at the kind of customers we were targeting. A more psychological maturity. With days to weeks of underground evaluation of ethics and politics, even removing personal motives from customer senses. From what we detected from our own point of view, look at the kind of technology we were selling. It's not average. So far in the moment, we're marketing our products well. The only issue with that is the federal imperialism is closing in on us due to the jealousy of their company decline. Means the best way for them to act is to put pressure on random civilians until a certain move stumbles upon a sensitive target. They'll proliferate, meaning trigger panic paranoids that once had conscious, heartfelt senses. Their ethics will be misdirected and positioned into a regretful negative, which will only benefit the Institute of the Offense Ministry, as more of those conditions and situations will multiply and will be lost control of. Meaning a person only trying to be safe will overprotect themselves from an enemy to the point will only end up with a clouded vision only to become an enemy vigilante and the wrong themselves or even worse. Well yeah, but don't you think such a bold prediction is kind of premature if it hasn't happened yet? How do you think we sold and earned billions from these handtakes in the first place? Psychological propaganda, anti-reality rhetoric, minus the scare tactics and defense education. I think you all and I need to ask ourselves, are we trying to sustain peace through aimless economic means, or build an army? Because this kind of peace is only delaying the disaster, and if there is an army to come other than the ones we're up against, then I think we have a lot more than a dangerous personal problem. Let's lower the prices. How many floors do we have? Well, as of last week, due to the results of the Civil Chemical Warfare training exercise, they've, as you all know, those floors, or should I say, were, known as Underground Network Distribution Organizations, aka Physical External Word of Mouth Organizations / companies. Well, now the Office Ministry labeled them as criminal trading floors, and right now we still have 111 still operational. The number is still in the triple digits, which is good. Last we had about 727 until they were raided by federal enforcements. But this is a record drop.
They are considered illegal, especially since they have proven more than effective in the financial market.
Because of the locations, mostly. How many bets have been placed on the weapons watch? Well, if you look at the notices, they're still intact above all else. But the dice keeps rolling too fast, causing the bits to dip no matter who is placing for what. Now and anytime soon, there is more than room for confidence. We'll change the tone. We'll ease distribution on the common popularity. We'll continue to target neutral classes, minimalizing social tensions if can, eradicate them as much as possible. Baby doll, let's see if we can conduct a temporary barcode override and also register logs to transmit to all registration checkpoints. Got it. That will be determined on how much is in the customer's possession. We need to grocery shop, keeping the purchase buffet at a low profile. That will depend on the budget of this operation. It's to my understanding it is at $241 billion. It's only enough for a citywide distribution, even if that. We can still make a good impression. This decline isn't going anywhere, no matter how many times we go in circles thinking we solved it.
Well, we figured ain't nobody buying houses or pushing or selling dope no more. We ain't no different. The mob is just gonna get annoyed.
That's on them. No matter the terms of my diplomatic parole. Before the insurrection, where the rising theocratic military fleets burned all sorts of organic vegetation, leading to a 9-month famine, starving primitive organic life, resulting in the insurrection war. Now, they're trying to snap people into it again. What's in this damn food, bro? The same shit that was in the think tank. Harmless poison.